and I can't remember what it was. It's on the tip of my tongue. You would, back. Yeah, I haven't seen you do it in 2 or 3 months, but very bold intro to a lot of your posts.
Oh God, my memory is
Like
shot.
I'm gonna be.
I don't
No,
even remember.
isn't it crazy to look back at some of the shit that I do to myself too, and I look at
Yeah.
stuff. Sometimes I'll copy, paste, and edit because there's a lot of good stuff, but there's this thing in there that I'm like, no, I can't have that in there. But you used to say something, and it's applicable. It has to do with boldness. It has to do with courage. Raw authenticity. But I was trying to remember because each one of these shows has like a different, and I feel like that I've been meeting with people with some recall 1 or 2 days before, and all the shows are like the symmetry is just like incredible. So that's what popped in when I said, okay, Theresa's coming on, and all this stuff started filtering in, But anyway, so let me let me turn this thing on and
let
me just make sure we're cool.
There's 5 people in the house, I think. Hello, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Let's see.
Oh,
that's on B Live. That's usually.
Oh, okay, interesting. I see.
Yeah, we got 23. We got 23 in the house right now.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, what's going on here? All right, Jenna Harmon. She's due. Her baby's due in about 3 weeks.
Oh, congratulations!
She's like a machine. Yeah. Shaz Hargreaves, Betsy Hughes, Allison Clausen, Cindy Aldridge, Janine Pope, Hutt, Victoria, Australia, Stephen Michael Jones, Stavanger, Norway, Alinka Sandu, Eva Marino, John Montgomery, Mira Ginsburg. 26 people in the house and counting. These shows resonate. Please share. We're being suppressed a little bit.
Yes,
every time we start cranking it up, they start.
Isn't that something?
It is what it is. I mean,
that's my saying now. It's so odd that you said that because that's what I say, and everybody is saying it. It is what it is.
You know what mine is? Mine is it is what it is today. Because tomorrow. So hello, Sevi Casteras. How you doing?
Sevi is here. Hi, Sevi, beloved.
Hello, everyone. Oh, they're pouring in now. Camara Ford.
Share out. Please invite.
Yeah.
Oh, White Eagle is here. Oh, yeah? I honor you, sir. It's been such a long time. How are you doing? That's awesome. Have Islands in the house.
Here you go. Yeah, Ireland. So I want to tell everybody thank you for your continued love and support and contributions to keep us going, to be able to do this every single day. We're 100% viewer supported. We've got some good progress on our independent site with our independent stream, and I think it's right in line with this stuff that's been happening with Mercury in retrograde and the stuff happening with the different social media monopolistic, oligarchic, bullshitish energies that we're correcting in ourselves and therefore being corrected outside of ourselves. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, for me and Morgan, everyone at Soulogy itself. It's very humbling to and it's awesome too because $5 here, $10 here, $11 here, it adds up.
It does. And you make it, right? And somehow you make it.
Somehow we make it. So you know what, Theresa and I, for those of you who don't know me, there's some new faces here.
David Hopkins is here. Hello, brother. How are you?
David Hopkins is in the house.
Linda Scott, my ladybug, raw and beautiful like a rough diamond in the shining, my girl is.
Rough diamond in the shining. Everyone's going to start rhyming.
Oh, my God.
So we go back a long ways, and I've said this most of the shows we've done quite a few shows, and in the 2 years, 900, we've got over 900 shows now, and I don't know, we've probably done 10. We've probably done as many as I've done with anybody virtually. And so, but we go way back. I came off the streets in 2013, and I had a laptop, and I started to see who was posting in the group, and Theresa was posting from day one. I mean, from my day one anyway. And she was one of the first people that I saw doing videos besides me. And so I always was like, man, that's a ballsy lady. And then I got to go to New York, and we had lunch, and we had a couple of meetings, and we've been through a lot, and we pick up a lot from each other. And it's obvious. It's always been that way. So I thought today is when I took in the energy of Theresa LePre Rivera, and I thought, oh, we're going to have a show, because we were supposed to do one a couple of weeks ago, but I cratered out like a lot of people have done for about 2 days, because me and Morgan were separating, and I was freaking out, and I didn't know what the hell was going on with me. I never know until it's like 3 days later, right? But anyway, what I'm seeing, and this is not and I know you're going to relate to this, because I've seen your transformation. I'm not going to put an ending to that. I've seen you transforming as you've seen me transforming, because we do have a connection. We've always had a connection.
Yes.
So this is actually a good thing. This is a good thing. We've all seen and done, I think, we can only see things that they're really, it's all about us. But my point is the term was, what was it? Spiritual bypassing last year got real popular. People blowing people up was something you saw frequently, especially during certain times, the times when there was a lot of energy. What I'm starting to see now, especially since the beginning of the year, is that split is occurring, and it's affected everybody. I'm seeing some very, what's the word? Really quiet, pure. I don't say pure. People that are not normally as vocal or demonstrative as like me and you, coming out and in a very accentuated way, pointing fingers, creating disparity, separation, right and wrong, dark and light, good shit, bullshit. It's all the same thing, right? And it's just kind of taken me. It's been very interesting. Some of these people will come out and bark and then pull back the bite, and some of them let it hang. And I'm just watching this, and I'm going, wow, we're going towards oneness. And this just seems to be something we got to go through and we got to see, because the bottom line is we got to heal ourselves. We've got to take the opinions out. We've got to take the judgments out. And wow, it's just been extraordinary to me to watch this. I figured it would be a good topic to start with you, because I know you're plugged in.
Okay. So
you got the hot potato.
I got the hot potato now. So everybody, welcome. Namaste to each of you. So each of you that know me and have been following me, as I follow and learn from each of you as well, know that one of the things that I am known for is to be a catalyst. I bring up issues that are on people's mind, but they don't necessarily want to speak about it. And I'll speak about this in love, light, and honor and respect, because I'm no different than each of you. I am on an ascension process, or a process that I am involved in, but I had a very deep experience happen to me. And I will speak a little differently tonight. I will speak as a call for humanity, a call for each of us to take a look personally at ourselves, to understand that as we go back and we discover the layers, that there's many traumas that happen to each of us. Yeah. And in our humanity, we sometimes forget our courtesy to one another, because we want to be heard and we want to be seen. And on this ascension process, I think it's agreed that each of us had to go into the dark night of the soul to see what was inside of us, as our human conditions led us astray, because we didn't know unconditional love then. We didn't even know how to love ourselves, because we were conditioned and we were brought into a cycle that we were awakened. But now that we're awakened, what do we do with it? So I'm constantly evolving. I'm constantly working and I'm constantly doing sacred rituals. And I'm very private about that at times, because I believe that that's something that a person has to absorb within their own heart and space, and then they could relate the knowledge. But last week, I have been morphing, so to speak. I went into a very deep meditation, and that meditation led me to confront fear. But I realized when I went into that meditation, it was a time for me to remember as well. And in a sense, my incarnation on this planet led me to understand the fear that humanity has been carrying. And I'm going to speak as a divine feminist now, because in my vessel, I am a divine feminist in this lifetime, although I respect and I honor the masculine energy. When I went back, I was going deep and deep in layers. And in my human life, I realized that I had a blockage, and that blockage was fear. But it wasn't a fear that didn't allow me to live my human life, because I live my human life. I do that. I do that with style and grace and a lot of scrapes sometimes, but I do that. And along the way, I've learned about a lot of honor and respect and what it is to go deep into the abyss and to understand fear. And I realized the fear that I was carrying was not only the fear that kept me and many, many, many ancestral lineages of all people in bondage. And as I went back, it was very heartfelt, because it was a split second. I could have continued on my journey, or I could have stopped right there, because you are faced with those split second decisions. But I decided to continue. And I saw all these atrocious acts of humanity when I went back. Deep, deep. But I realized that that was the fear and the conditions that were placed on us. So how do you transmute this when you are in this state of meditation? And the mind and the heart is taken over, but the fear factor, and how do you go in it? And this meditation was quite different, because what happened in this meditation, it was everything that I loved. So I saw the fear of humanity in many different layers. And as I transmuted it and as I confronted it in the love of light, in the universal source. And going back, I went back to source, and I had a conversation with source. And again, I'm very private about this, guys, but now is the time to speak, because I feel that discussion is very imperative for us to continue forward, and for us to stop pointing the finger, and for us to come together and realize that the human vessel and the ethereal vessel, once it merges, leads us to live heaven on earth, so to speak. And I'm just using that as technology. I went so deep into this meditation, Todd, that I confronted source, and I realized that when I was in that place of bliss, I was claustrophobic, if that makes sense to you. And I realized I was claustrophobic because I was not supposed to return. I was supposed to come back. But I also realized that we take on these conditions so deeply that it distorts our heart space. So how do you come back into the light? And I think what happens is that we come back into the light because we realize that even though each of us is special and unique and we're talented, that we do have our humanness that gets into the way. So instead of pointed fingers, why don't we each look at ourselves and say that we have come a long way? And yes, on this journey, we have made mistakes. And yes, we don't know everything, but we do have something. We have the opportunity to love from a heart space. And I came out very graceful. And I still don't know my direction, because the last time I was on, it have happened to me. So
I love what you said, though. No. I love I just want to point one thing out that you said, because I think people can relate to this. And I seem to have some type of, to be able to regurgitate things in a way. So what you said was you got claustrophobic.
Yes.
When the bliss came. And if you think about it, all of us, it happened to me a couple of nights ago. You start to receive from the external, be it a hug adulation from the heart, or credit, but sincere. I'm talking sincere, where it's pure, and it's like so freaking blissful, and so impactful that you're like going, "Oh my God, what do I do?" And you're shaking in your boots. That's what I got from what you just said.
Oh my God.
Relate to that.
I was actually having a conversation with Sauce, and what happens to me, Todd, is that when I am in this space of what we call oneness, I am able to extrapolate that information and bring it to humanity in a very simplistic form, because I don't want to confuse with words, because it's easy to confuse with words. So what I really want to do is I want to expand. And I actually left that space because I realized that we have so much more work to do. But this is what I realized also, and why I came back to this place of peace now, and I can continue on with grace. And my saying is, it is what it is, and we shall adjust as we go along, because I understood the burdens of Gaia as her child, not as Gaia the mother, as Gaia her child. The burdens that humanity has not only placed on the earth, what we placed on each other, and the forces, so to speak, that keep us from evolving. And I came back in gratitude because now I'm very responsible, even more so. And there is no judgment. What it is discernment as I am in the moment. So I don't prejudge. I discern as I have to take care of whatever I have to take care of. And I'm more in tune to the next person. And what happens is, I have found that words are limited. Our words are limited, and they're very misunderstood sometimes. And when I look at what's going on lately, and yes, I could come back and I could say a lot of things. What really happens is that my heart becomes a little saddened, because I would think that after all the BS that each and every one of us has been through to discover what it is that we are here for, I say that I have to leave that behind, because my action will be part of the solution rather than my words. My energy will be part of the solution. And do I go through what people don't understand is that when I'm working the grid, y'all, I come from New York City, USA. I'm in a very heavy, dense, populated city. I deal on many different levels, and I am constantly pulling the 5D into the 3D as I am working with people and as I am living life, because it is necessary, because I'm dealing with a array of people. It's a banquet. So when you are in this knowing, this oneness, when you are expanded, you also understand how the mind works and how the heart works, how we on this journey want to be seen and heard individually.
Yeah.
But collectively, when we come together, I think it should be understood that if you are collectively coming together, you in turn are working as a whole to unify whatever the situation is that you want to unify. It can be many things, right? But as you unify it, collective is different than individual, because there's an individual experience that leads you to a collective action that causes you to be in tune with the energy that's around you, because now you are working for Gaia, you are working for Mother Earth. You are actually living a human life in a divine present, a human life in a divine present. So I treat everybody with respect. And if I see a situation where the energy is getting to a place where I don't want to partake in, I transmute it, switch, and I keep it moving, because I will say it is what it is. Because people, go ahead.
Let's go back to words. Hang on. Let me let the so we don't have a reverb. Okay. Perfect. I knew we were going to hit gold. So let's go back to the words. So,
Yes.
and I love what you just said too. Let me preface it with, it's an individual journey. We have our own personal experience. Don't take anything personal, but we're all having a collective experience. We're all connected to the collective. Look, layman's terms, everybody wants to serve. Everybody wants to heal the world. Okay. There's something about this trip, about this go round. All right. That we're integrating the physical and the non-physical, and that requires verbalization, expansion of the throat chakra, the heart speaking through the throat chakra. So therein lies the paradoxical rub, right? And this is what comes to me. The energy now that's coming down, and I'm watching it happen, okay? I'm watching people step up who have been in the background for a long time. We're talking 10, 15, 20 years doing, okay. And they're stepping out. They're stepping out. And that is a necessary component. It's a have to. It's got to. It's an absolute, because we're integrating physical and non-physical now. So what you have is you have this energy that's coming down, and it's saying, own it. Own your role, own your mission, own what you are, own it. And that's different, but the same to everybody. And then on the other side, as we're transitioning, and it's not a sin and it's not a judgment, it's just a reality of this transition. We have either the throat chakra expanding and an individual owning it versus an individual speaking in comparisons that lead to separation.
Yes.
Consciously,
bingo.
And really unconsciously. So I saw this one the other day. Both of them high vibrational. One says to the other publicly, "You're not of the light." Hey, there ain't no fucking light. It's all the same light. It's all the same dark. Okay, that's oneness. There is no separation. There is no Satan and the opposite of that, dark and light. It's all the same thing. It's just two sides of the same coin, ego and soul, however you want to put it. And I'm not knocking these people. What I'm saying, actually, this is great. This is great, because if we can admit to ourselves, and that's how we change everything. If we can admit to ourselves that, hey, I've done that. I'm aware of it. And now I know. So now what do I do? Because it can't be the same thing. I can't plateau at that point. But what you're bringing out that's so important, okay, and that's why I have the total respect for you and many other people who've been out there verbalizing this stuff for a long time, not because they're better. This isn't comparative separation, just because that takes balls, because you're going to get it wrong sometimes. I've been there, 3,000 plus productions. Believe me, I've been there many times with my head in my ass, okay, my foot in my mouth. But so I think just to sum it up and hand it back to you, I want to encourage everybody to speak, okay? And just from my own observations and the work I do, there seems to be two faces, or a pair of two faces of many pairs of the great divide, or I don't even want to say the great divide, the minimizing divide. And that is, you can come out and own it. You can say, hey, I'm Todd. I represent Soulogy. I am in a divine conscious union. That's about all I know. Or you can come out and say, hey, I'm doing this and you do that. Or I'm doing this and you don't do that. That's comparative separation versus just owning who and what you are and what you're a part of, because we're all a part of the same thing, and we all know it's oneness, and we all link to the collective. Every one of us is downloading the same thing, and we're all trying to get to the same place. And we need to remember that. And the last thing, to your point, go easy on yourself. and go. And if you're going to go easy on yourself, go easy on the others too, because we're all in the same boat. We all are in the same boat.
Absolutely, we're on the same boat, Todd. And I think what happens is that, look, if I may speak candidly, and this is just speaking in general terms, each of us have something knocking at our doors that we are healing from. We're the collective consciousness who was awakened, who has the opportunity through trial, error, and trauma to be part of an evolution process that changes mankind. And if you go back in your history and if you scientifically check out what I'm about to tell you, you will find out within the last 5,000 years, our DNA strand has changed 7%. That's huge. 7 billion or 8 billion people, 7% actively changing their actively changed DNA in our species, right? Now, as we are changing and as we are evolving, we are in a process of teaching the next generation. And I got to say, this is the cool part, you know. I've been through a lot. I've been through that fire. I've landed in the abyss. I've come out. I've become very graceful. I still learn. I'm very humble. I'm very aware. My children took that bumpy ride with me, and fortunately, we all panned that out. And I am totally in love with my family because I have a great relationship. So that means something for me because even though we all do not see things on the same eye level, heart level, mind level. We are one for all and all for one. But you know what the greatest thing is after surviving all this? My girls, my granddaughters, the comfortability is there and the trust is there between my son and my daughter-in-law and the family that I get to implement this from their growing stages, right? And see them blossom and grow because there is no precondition and there is no okay let's put it in, and there's nothing more pleasurable than seeing a child being able to be a child because so many children that turn into adults that take the places that we have taken had to suffer, had to go through these traumas and these abuses. And, you know, now our energy is in a different place. And I advocate for that. And when people tell me, you know, what facet and you don't know this about energy or do you know this and I'm a light warrior and this that, and then they say why do you only just say that's nice and why don't you give credence to that? Because I don't feel that there has to be too much emphasis on that. I feel in the beginning when people are just awakening, there's a search to find their place, and these floods of information is going to happen in their mind's eyes, and what is you are naturally searching. So where do I fit in the fractal? How do I work the fractions of this unification so the wheel could spin, so source energy could illuminate? Say it the way you want to say it, but that's really the gist of it. After a certain period of time, the action becomes so prevalent that the gifts are just naturally there. And in your mind's eye, you can break bread and you understand someone is working the grids in this part of the world. Another person is using light code to bring in a unification that allows us. So when I never label. I just do what I do as I do, and I keep it moving and I keep walking, and I have respect because I feel that when the fractals know that the heart is in the right place, even though your mission or your path is different, when you break bread with integrity and respect.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You know? And
I got I got three things popping. I got to say one. Oh God, I think I just forgot the third one. But okay, so the first one is, so imagine we're all in physical matter, but we're all corn stalks in a massive field around the earth, receiving different precipitation levels, different temperatures, and so on. Right?
Yes.
we're all going to grow.
Yes.
Now, if we try to explain that or define that by 3D terms, that means that everyone has to grow 6 corns of stalk and that's ascension. No, it's not. Some of us are going to physically decompose earlier and feed the soil. I mean, the whole point is that there's nothing different about the one that blooms 12 ears of corn and the one that physically decomposes earlier. The energy is energy. You can't take energy away. It can't be destroyed. Okay.
Exactly.
That's one thing that I'm getting from you. The other thing that oh my God, I fought this for so long. I gotta say what I gotta say. I gotta say what I gotta say. And thank God it's for Morgan Lee, right? She says to me, and it meant like so many profound things. It meant multiple meanings.
Yes.
And that was, if you know it, why you got to say it? So that you drill that down, and so-and-so says something to you, and I still do it, but so-and-so says something to you, and you say, okay, well, I'm going to say this to you. But in reality, from our higher perspective, from our highest perspective, the collective, which we all are pulling from that beehive intelligence, you already know, hey,
yes.
And you might be wrong at a human level, but you say, okay, well, so-and-so said that about me, and best thing you can do, don't say a word.
Oh, you know what
allow them to speak. Let that energy sit there and do for them what it will and do for you for what it will. Because the minute you turn around and start talking,
you're in trouble.
we start to distort because you're thinking this, I'm thinking that. And even if we're talking straight face to face, okay, because we know that texting and messaging and making comments without the tonality and all that is already distorted. But even if we're talking face to face, I'm still thinking one way from my perspective and my life experience, and you're doing the other. So if you know it, why you got to say it? If you know what you're looking at, okay, if you have the respect and the honor and the reverence just to say nothing, okay, even if you got it quote unquote wrong, the universe is going to reward you with quote unquote right. You're going to be balanced. That's all I'm trying to say, you know?
I understand that, and I respect that, and I respect all people. And when people say, what do you consider yourself, Theresa? Are you a teacher? Are you a healer? You know what my answer is? I'm Theresa in a vessel who has a divine soul, and I am having this discussion with humanity. This is my experience. This is what has happened to me. This is what I learned. This is how I apply it. I realize that other people have a different journey. I realize that there is no right or wrong in when you are evolving, because you are growing, because each of us has a little bit of right and wrong in us, right? Because like you say,
I have a question. What's a healer? What's a healer?
A healer? A healer. That's my New York accent, right?
I met this lady. We had to break it up just a little bit. I met this beautiful lady like yourself. I met her here. I did. Morgan scheduled a show with her, and I get on the thing when she goes, "Oh, I'm like a block. I'm like a mile away from you, around the corner over here."
Isn't that great?
And she's from Central New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
So when we got into talking about it, it reminded me of you because we started talking, and I don't know why, but she was more in a like a radio personality type of voice. It really couldn't tell what accent was, and then she went right into that New Jersey shtick. I was like, holy shit. But, no, so Gila, I love that. Yeah.
We are healer. We are healer. So, I just flow these days, and I take things with grace. And, I like I say, I have to pull in 5D to my 3D life, because I deal with people who are in the 3D who are not spiritual, right? And I don't want to, start a conversation like that, my actions, and then people open up, because we're evolving on many different levels. And what really is spirituality, right? It's a process of multidimensional consciousness that we are inviting into our human vessel, from my own perspective, you know. And as I work this, I understand and I look back at some things and I laugh and I say, oh God, did I actually say that? But one thing that I am taught is very consistent in my growth process, very honest in my
Well,
human process.
you know what jumps out at me is, be it you or be it me watching old me 3 4 years ago, or watching other people or on shows like this. It's not the words. It is not the words. If that person has the combination of the purest intention that they can fathom at that point, or as close to possible, as close to the 100th percentile as possible, and whatever comes out of their mouth, it's their intention. If their intention is for them to have people idolize them, and then it's going to fall flat,
Yeah.
especially now. But if their intention is really to heal the world, which they don't, in the paradoxical thing, healing themselves, I mean, if that's their intention, I don't give a damn what they're saying. I don't care what the modality they're explaining of the process. I don't care about the story they're conveying. That heart is coming through, and that is the contagion that is expanding what we're calling ascension, and it's doing it very rapidly.
Oh, yes, because even the unconscious, or what we, again, we're just using terminology. We're just using words that we could articulate with because we are still using language. But when I am now talking and I am out there, people that are not into the spiritual genre, or really they don't understand so much about the how the mechanism works inside the body and what the layers of energies are, they are now also expanded and they want to open discussion, because you see, it's not about the religion, it's about the religious practices, because people have in their DNA a built-in DNA that they naturally, they naturally streamline to a source, right? Because we believe in this. It's just something that goes off on us, but we've been conditioned and told how we should worship, or what really is the truth. And really, what is the truth? What happens if, there's this thing that I have, what happens if you find out that after you leave this vessel, that it wasn't all that you thought it was going to be, right? So what do you have gotten out of that? And when people ask me that, I'm like, what I've gotten out of this is that in my human vessel, in my heart, as I began to understand about love, as I began to understand what we do to self-destruct ourselves, and when we stop that and we own up and we want to come forth, is that I'm a better person. I can look at somebody, and when I extend a hand out, it's out of genuineness and gratitude. And yes, it is what it is, because I've had horrible moments too, and I have done things or said things that I would not say now in my awareness, because now my heart understands what the other person could be feeling, And when I have to, show and exercise healthy boundaries, I don't have to do it with tearing you up. It's very rare that I have to get really, really, that's in a very extreme case, when you really have to just say, okay, we have to get it. Yeah.
I think that's going away. That's what I'm saying. And I'm going to draw two examples. So one example is what I started at the top of the show with, which was, I'm seeing this frequency going out there of people pointing fingers at other people.
Yes.
And again, it is the comparative separation versus I'm owning my divinity. It's something that's saying that person's not what I am. Beware, everybody. Beware, everybody. They may not be conscious of the fact that it's something deficient in themselves, that there's something in themselves that hasn't accepted that bliss that you're talking about, that you were talking about at the top of the show. So that's one example. Okay. Now, another example is this incredible And don't get caught up in the story. It's the energy. This incredible documentary that's come out about Leaving Neverland, Michael Jackson. Now, it's not about Michael Jackson. And it's not about the person pointing fingers at someone else. It's what you said. What's behind that? What's behind that is what you went into that meditation is, and that every damn one of us went through every single thing you can imagine and was everything. And that's not a cliche.
No.
So if a man, for instance, in what is to the human being a very extreme, horrific example, is a pedophile. You know, they say that the average pedophile is 40 years old and Anglo and blah, 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 whatever. Goes to Thai, goes to work, and is quiet and seclusive.
Yeah.
But what's behind that? What happened to that person? What happened to that person that created that pattern that was probably ancestral lineage exacerbated? What happened to that person? And what happened to the person who, in this very transformational time that we're in, where everything's quantum and moving very, very fast, okay? What happened to that person who pointed the finger at somebody else? Was the finger pointed at them? What was their history? Every one of us is on the same level. We all have this common denominator. And the thing that we're forgetting is that the most important common denominator is not to take anything away from it, because I've been saying it for 7 years. I am soul. But the most important thing is that we've all been human hybrid souls in transition, trying to make sense of having one foot in the 3D and one in the 5D plus, getting this information from the collective consciousness while dealing with this bullshit in the 3D going, get me out of here. We've all had that. We all need to give the love, honor, respect to each other and reverence and to ourselves and cut the bullshit, Game over, new phase. Let's talk about expansion. Let's talk about transformation. Let's talk about increasing and expanding the outer breadth of Mother Creation, because that's why we're here. This was the story that got us here. That don't even mean anything. We're all woke.
Yes, let's expand, let's teach. And, when people say, well, everything is an illusion and, this is not even real. My response to that, to the person that I'm speaking to, I understand you, but I am living my illusion. And even if you think my illusion is fake, that is the reality that I am living. So I am transmuting that in my own everyday existence. And when I become aware of these things that have bogged down humanity, I don't want to shy away speaking about it. I don't want to speak in judgment. I want to say this is layers and layers of all this traumatic, emotional baggage that we have passed down from generation to generation. And I am breaking the cycle. I am empowering. I don't have it all right, but I am willing. I want to be part of a solution rather than being part of pointing the finger, because that's exhausting to me. And I want to just love. I want to love. Yeah, I want to feel it genuinely. I want to give it and receive it without the past. Yeah. The past bogging me down.
Stories are stories. Everybody's pain is the same proportion to the life experience. That's why they call it the finger. I had to put that one in there. But yeah. And you just said, wow. I mean, it's like, and Sevi said something here a second ago. The top part of it. She said, what if I stop worrying about what comes after? I've often thought to myself when I got to that, brass tacks, bare bones with the universe, and said, how the hell do I know if I'm not just worm dirt? How do I know if I'm not just some kind of like, in a petri dish in a laboratory? And then something kicks in and says to me, how do you know that your very belief system and the spiritual inertia, energy that you put out, isn't the actual make it or break it in the whole thing with yourself and with the collective? So, it's like, let the stories go. War is over. There's enough masculine energetic presence now, and that's obvious over the last couple of months. The feminine energy's been here. It's game on. The dance has started. The party started. It's time to see. It's time to not do and be what's happened before. Nothing against Jesus and Magdalene. Nothing against Kuan Yin. Nothing against any of that stuff. The galactics are not our future. They're our past. We are the present. We are the past that comes with us, and we are the future that we're creating. We're the new template. We're the new blueprint. And this very human discussion is not just this one, but the whole thing about expanding the throat chakra through the heart, the alignment of the heart, and putting it out there. Whatever it is, it's not the words, it's the frequency and the energy of your heart that is the contagion, and that is expanding this and accelerating this ascension, this unveiling. It's a good thing. It's a beautiful
thing. It's a good thing, and it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to take part in an evolution process that we have been discussing from past generations, because past generations have discussed this. They'd have to just do it quietly. I don't know if y'all heard, but I believe it was in Egypt recently, within the last month or so, there have been more scrolls that were found about Sophia Gaia, Magdalene, Mary Mother, many different terminologies. Yeah, and the role that was played in this movement, this collective, what y'all now maybe call twin flames, or the soulmate. What happens when the runners come together, and really, what is the streamline? And the streamline is what you just said. Even though they were the ancients, they built a blueprint for us to continue with the consciousness. And the divine feminine had a very huge role in this consciousness. And the it's like the ancient modern day, what we would describe activists. They were raising awareness, and they were changing the very things that we now can go out of the gate with, the preparation. And it's very interesting because all these things were suppressed, even with, and you're going to see a lot now. I'm going to say within like the next 6 months, 6 to 9 months, you'll actually see the Vatican begin to fall, because they play a very big role in the suppression of our history, because they are no longer going to be able to suppress. We are large. We're rising up, guys.
And the rise up.
We have heart. We have soul.
But they did. You can't. The one thing they didn't account for, the 1% who thought they could be the God, which is what happened, which is something we can all relate to, which is part of the common denominator, because at some degree or another, in some relationship that we've had, we've tried to be the lesser God. Okay. So they're part of this beautiful, perfect order, mosaic, master, giant jigsaw puzzle. But the thing I was trying to say is that, they didn't account for one thing. You talk about amnesia. You talk about being gods with amnesia and goddesses with amnesia. That 1% had more amnesia than anyone, because they forgot one thing. You cannot stop pure love.
You cannot stop the power of love.
You cannot stop it. That is what's happening. Pure love, authentic, raw, real love is taking over this planet, and it's impacting every dimension, every universe, every multiverse, every galaxy, all across the board, period. The human is the hero. Don't take away from yourself. Understand that it's not our multidimensional aspects that is the wild card, that is the kicker. You know what I mean? It is the human hybrid soul that comes into alignment with all of that stuff and says, I am here to kick ass and take names, because I will only be Theresa one time. I will only be Todd one time. And let's make the best of it. Let's cut the bullshit, stop the stories, and let's get it on, because that's where we're at now. you know?
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. When people say, "Well, you are a goddess, you are a god," I says, "Yeah." I says, "We could say many things what we are, but I'm still very human." I says, "And to me, the ultimate attraction in Teresa's human vessel is to pull it all in so I could use it because I want to know it now because I don't want to keep on with the many layerings of traumas or fear or shame or guilt. Here I am aware of all that, and I, the human, have the power to do that because I could rise up, I could understand. I look at the life form that's around me, all the creatures, everything is unique. So we're always looking at what is going to arrive from the galaxy, but they're already here with us in many dimensional, you know, structures. So I'm like, okay, so what do we do? I mean, why can't we enjoy this? I says, everybody's kicking out outside. That why aren't we bringing it in to like to illuminate this here? Because it does exist. And yes, I understand the shadow exists too. I understand that there's many things that are bittersweet in a human vessel because we remember. But I'm imploring people as we remember to change and never go back there because human beings tend to forget very quickly. And when we forget, that's when we run into that same condition and that same railroad. And I say, forget enough of that. I want to streamline all that I am. And look, I'm speaking here very openly and honestly, but that does not mean that I don't go to a human emotion. That does not mean that I don't have to filter anger when anger comes and then reset and say, okay, what's happening over here? That doesn't mean that sometimes I'm very hard on myself and I don't know the way sometimes, and that frustrates me. But then I come back into center and I give back and I'm like, okay, I've survived this much. I'm going to survive again, and I'm going to keep expanding. So, when I hear that everybody is still bickering and it's still acute and that's a waste of energy, guy, because you know what? There's something at everybody's door.
It's just not a if it's just not a part of my universe, it's not a part of your energy field. If you what does Morgan say? If you look for it, you're going to find it.
Absolutely.
So if you go look for it, you're going to find it. So look, man, I mean, we know what's going on. We know this. A story is a story is a story. And if we keep talking about it, now it is liberating in the initial sense to tell our story. This is what happened to me. This is where I was, and this is where I'm at now. You don't need to talk about it anymore, because if we talk about it anymore, we're just going to reinforce that loop. It's just going to keep coming right back. This is what we came here for. We came here to say, and stop falling back on, well, I'm only human, okay? Or, that is not who we are. We are divine human beings.
Fine.
That's right. Our offering to the universal family, to the universal neighborhood, and I'm not saying I'm anything, but I got this from a short gray who was in my bed 2 weeks ago. Said, "We're here. I'm here to assist." I said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "I'm here to assist you." And he said, "But we're also learning." And I said, "What are you learning?" "We're learning emotion. We're learning the power of emotional creativity, the power of the human heart." So the human heart, which in all of its egoic faults and all of its beautiful, soulful successes, okay, and manifestations, all of it, the dark and the light, that is what we're bringing to the universal table. And we're going to expand every single species and dimension that there is, period. Right? So let's own it.
Human heart is the most sought after commodity in the universe because
Yeah.
it has the power to move. And when people say, well, Teresa, why do you think that when they speak of the Kabbalah, or they speak of dark forces, or they speak of however they term, why do you think that they were more successful, or why do you think that, that was prevalent? And then when you really think about that and you start dissecting it, and from my own perspective, I have learned one thing that they have in common is that they understand how the energy works, and they are for whatever their goal is, right? And while people were in the dark, it was taken away from us what the power of love, the power of heart can actually do when you come together in synchronicity. And one of the reasons that they had a one up on human beings at one time was only because of the fact that we were too busy in our own pain and our own lack of humanness that we forgot the power that we have. But guess what? We know that power now, and
That's
we
right.
are forced to
We were
be
deceived. We were deceived, and we know that now. So now we're going to kick ass and take names, and we're going to bring them with us. We're going to bring them all with us, right?
Absolutely.
What a power packed hour that was.
Power packed.
I'm gonna have to go take a nap now. I'm moving from one apartment to another today, and I'm gonna have to go take a nap.
That's right.
This is what I was feeling before the show started. I just knew that because that's it, man. The real time, you said, it is what it is, and I said that's funny. I said the same thing. It is what it is today, because today in this moment, this is our most powerful intel. I don't give a damn who you've been channeling or who you've been connected to and for how many years. I don't care, because we are operating from a universal beehive intelligence. So whatever you have, I have in this moment. I can access it. Now tomorrow, everything changes. If ascension is a 10 on a scale of 1 to 10 today, we get to 10. Tomorrow, that 10 is a 1, and there's a new scale of 1 to 10, and this thing never stops. We are the heroes. The universe is sitting on the edge of their seat, and they're waiting to see what we're going to do with this, and they're already impressed, and they're excited. And this energy of us trying to expand our throat chakra and speak our truth, which is so important, which is absolutely vital. Let's just take some discernment. Is it owning it, or is it comparative separation? I think we can own it, and that's how this thing rocks, to use your terminology. I'll let you close it out.
And I just want to say this, I want everybody to consider this as you are reflected in your humanness, as you are communing with the divine. Your information of what it is to be human is very imperative to the growth, because in order to expand, and as you are bringing in your multidimensional aspects, do not be afraid to say, look, we are human, we were created, you created us to expand, but as we are expanding, this is the challenges that we face as human beings. So in order to bring in our divine selves, we also have to learn from each other. It's not that you just take it from the divine, because if you all hear some of my conversations with the divine, you would say, Theresa, you just didn't just say that, did you? Because I want to know my origins. I want to know, not in speculation. I want to know in the real, so Theresa can live it in this vessel and actually remember the many lifetimes of the vessels in unification with my global brothers and sisters.
Right on. It's a new good book. It's a new template. It's a new blueprint. And Susan Marie, who was on a couple of weeks ago, says, each of us has an important piece to add to the beautiful mosaic of creation. That's the whole point. Everyone brings a unique and equal piece. I had a transmission a couple of days ago, and it was in that, when you're like half awake, half asleep. Yes. And I heard these words: every fractal has its own story, but not story like we're talking about, but unique and equal impact, like she's talking about. An individual piece. Look, I am not complete without the universe, but the universe is not complete without me. That's the paradoxical super intelligence of the universe that a human at a certain level could not understand, but a divine human being, what we're doing here, we will understand that and put that into motion. So thank you so much. I can't wait to rock it with you again. I saw one of your t-shirts the other day. Please put your very beautiful, by the way, very cool. I saw it on a post.
Lee Karen designed
it. Lee Karen did? Very cool. I haven't seen her in a while. I'm going to give her a call. So, put your links there. Teresa's got Rise Up, hashtag Rise Up. I think riseup.com. Whatever it is, she'll put it out there. We're here in
email address and my email, my website, and you can go on the website and everything is there.
Yeah. This is the year of sovereignty. This is the year of expansion. This is the year of collaboration, co-creation, supporting each other. We can all do that. And I can promise you, when you pay it forward and you gift it forward, that is the 5D commerce, and it will come back to you. And we're all starting to realize the power of that. It defies the 3D paradigm. Nothing wrong with the 3D paradigm, but we're not here to modify what's been done. We're here to actually do something that's never been done before. So let's support each other. Thank you, Theresa. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.
Peace out. Until the next time. April.
Rock easy.